All right, 10-minute snack. Everyone knows the rules. Let's eat. Okay, I have the pleasure of having Rina from Sydney, Australia with us today for this snack. Rina, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Kevin.
So I'm excited to chat. You have, first of all, interviewed lots of people yourself. And so I'm very curious to learn your learnings from there. I had the honor of being on your podcast. We'll talk about that at the end. But my question for you is, especially you've dealt with a lot of body composition and the intersection of body composition, fat loss, and carnivore. And when some people start carnivore, they start eating meat and they gain weight. And so my question is, what's your general approach for someone that has fat loss as a goal and they want to go carnivore? How do you approach that?
Very, very simple. So I go straight into 3 meals a day. I don't advocate fasting. I know that you're very similar with that. And especially if you do have fat loss as a goal, the fasting can be good, but I think that's something that we can use later down the track if it's needed. But I really do focus on macros, focusing on the protein, which you do as well. So 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, or if you don't know your lean body mass, just your optimal weight that you would like to get to, just as a starting point for protein. And then what we do in terms of fat, and if you have a little bit of carbs, because I know people are carnivore, but then, some people are ketovore as well. And especially if you have things like eggs, it has like 1 gram of carbs, like if you have a few eggs. So what I tend to do is match the fat to the protein. So the total fat and carbs, 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. So as an example, for me, I would eat about 100 grams of protein, 100 grams of fat primarily, and that tiny bit of carbs. Now that's a really, really good starting point for people to understand, are they putting on weight? Are they gaining weight? Now, if they are losing weight, you add a bit of fat. So this is a
Okay.
protocol that I'm working with Coach Bronson.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've heard of Coach Bronson Dand.
Oh yeah,
So,
we just chatted the other day. So yeah.
he is amazing. So this is something that I was definitely doing something very, very similar, but he's got a very specific program, and we're actually starting a 60-day fat loss program in the new year. So, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. So this really works because there's no guesswork around how much meat you should be eating, how much fat you should be eating, because if you're tracking your macros, not your calories, you're going to get to your optimal weight.
So I guess my question with the protocol is, a lot of people start from different points.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's like always the one hang up is for someone doing that, I could see them having, if they were eating, let's just say like, even if they're coming from a carnivore diet and just eating, let's just say 4 pounds of meat a day, heavy, lots of fat. And they're like, okay, I want to lose weight. And so they go to this, they'll probably lose a lot of weight pretty fast
Yeah.
versus someone who's coming from like a restrictive background. They go to these macros, they could potentially even gain weight, even though I would say with the strategy is probably not super likely to gain a lot of weight, but possible. Or would you disagree with that?
So initially, in terms of finding your optimal weight, there might be some weight loss, there might be some weight gain. But the thing is, when you're doing it in an appropriate way and the way that you teach as well, Kevin, it's not going to be drastic. You're not going to see like something, like 10, 20 pounds. And it's okay to have that variation because there's a transition process. And especially if you see people that they're not 100% carnivore, and even when you want to go to carnivore, there still is a bit of a transition process. So for me personally, if you gain weight, if you lose weight initially, that's okay, because we're trying to get something that's consistent over time, and consistency is the key towards success.
Mm-hmm. What I agree with so fully is, even if we started at someone with a different place, the fact that we create a baseline where then we can make intelligent decisions from. A lot of times I see people throwing like everything at the wall and it's like, well, what should I do? I'm like, well, you've done 6,000 different things in the last 2 weeks. We don't have any baseline to go off of. So I love the baseline strategy. And I think the ratios you mentioned, like, we'll say I'm 170 pounds, 170 grams of protein is kind of the minimum or the target, 170 grams of fat. That's basically ketogenic ratio. So they'll be in ketosis.
And what's quite interesting is that those macros is a high fat carnivore diet. It's about a 70-30 split. So, doing the 80-20, 85-15 split, it can be good and it can be helpful for people that are metabolically damaged. But when we're talking about body recomp, I think that the little bit of higher protein is important. It also helps with feeling satisfied. For me
Mhm.
personally, when I decrease the protein, I can just eat loads of butter and loads of fat and I just don't get full. It's the protein. And for me, even like with meals, like for my first 2 meals, I'll have 8 ounces of protein. And I'm like a smaller girl, so woman. So that 8 ounces of protein, it can seem quite a lot, but it depends on those numbers. And when you
Mhm.
use those numbers, it really gives you a good idea because you're not guessing. You're not thinking, I'm a woman, I should be eating 3 ounces of protein.
Yeah,
No.
I'm 100% with you. Like I tend to personally go lean very heavy into protein, but even for people maybe with not as extreme body composition goals, for me, I'm usually saying like we should be more aggressive with the protein. I do know
Thank
understand there's
you.
a counter argument, like you mentioned. There's some people who are like, let's go 80, 85% fat, kind
Yeah.
of lower protein. My worry is always about losing lean body mass. And then like you mentioned, for me, if protein gets that low, I could eat 10,000 calories on fat and just not feel like I need more protein.
Yeah, I think it really depends on where you're coming from. I think we have very similar goals, and perhaps your audience is very similar: body recomp, optimal weight, that kind of thing, and also energy and concentration and focus. And it really depends. And starting from a baseline of perhaps 70-30, and if you need to up your fats for a particular reason, that could be a good reason. But then, having that 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, even up to like a little bit more, is okay. And especially I find, especially for women, if you feel tired or a bit stressed, increasing the protein a little also helps just to feel
Mhm,
satisfied as well. So I
mhm.
think there's a lot of discussion around fat, fat, fat with carnivore, but I think balancing it well with a good amount of protein is quite important.
I agree. One last question for you. I know we're coming up on the end of our snack time. Is an area where I'll say have hesitation is someone who's not done a carnivore diet. They want to go into carnivore and fat loss is the primary goal. Going into carnivore doing fat loss, my hesitation always with this group is I'm like, a lot of times there's adaptation you got to get used to. If we're going to do like a little bit of caloric restriction on top of that, you're going to have all like, you might have a hard time for, for a while. Do you have any hesitations with that or you just tell them to plow on through?
I wouldn't plow on through. I have got like even my sister, she's doing keto and she wants to do carnivore and she's been doing keto for 3 months and that's okay. Like you don't the thing about being perfect and being perfect carnivore, it's not realistic and we have to always have that transition process. Even when you have a transition process to achieve your optimal weight, it takes time. So
Mhm.
going full blown carnivore, which is like what I did, it's not advisable because you will feel like crap for a long time. And we don't need you to feel like crap. We want you to feel good as long as possible. And that's why, working with somebody like you, Kevin, there are tips and strategies that we can do to transition you to carnivore while making you feel fabulous and over time achieving your goal.
I know you as well talk a lot about that, and I think it's very important. And it was the mistake that admittedly looking back a number of years ago when I was first kind of advising people, I'll say on carnivore, my general approach was like, let's rip the band-aid off. Let's get through the transition symptoms. Let's just do it. Cause that's like kind of my personality.
Yeah.
And it was eye-opening to know like a lot of people aren't me, right? We have different experiences, different attitudes, but also different histories where it's a lot of people have more success, like you were mentioning, like easing in a little bit more. Even if it won't necessarily get them to their fastest body composition, it's more important to stay on that path than to just
Yeah.
try and go all out and fall off that path.
Well, I always like to talk about consistency. And the thing is, results happen over time with small improvements. It doesn't happen by doing 100% the next day. And what we see with so many diets, why do 99% of diets fail? For that
100%.
very reason.
100%. It's so true. And I think I see this highlighted so much in the gym. I obviously love going to the gym, but anyone you see go to the gym, I'll say for more than a year, the reason they go for more than a year is like they learn to love it. It's not like they learn to go, they enjoy it. It's part of their life. It is just, it's like, it's as natural as like sleeping. Like You don't have to remind yourself you're going to sleep today. It's like, oh, I know it's just part of like the daily routine and the habit. So I
Yeah.
100% the mindset to success, I think, is probably the most important thing when it comes to
I'm
diet,
glad.
like you
I'm
said.
so glad that you said mindset, because the thing that I love along with carnivore is mindset. That is so key towards success. Changing your limiting beliefs. What you think in your brain every day is going to dictate your decision. So I am just, that is my love and my passion, is everybody can change their mindset and change the way that they think to live happy.
Hmm. I love that. One thing I'll ask people, and I can almost like predict with if they'll have success with like a very high percentage of degrees. You'd be like, "Well, what are you doing?" And they'll be like, "I'm trying to lose 10 pounds or whatever it is." It's the idea that they're gonna try it versus like someone says, "Well, I'm losing 10 pounds by April or whatever." Like someone who's like, there's a difference between someone who's committed and versus like, I'm kind of testing the water. And it's not that the
Yeah.
person who's testing the water can't transition into like full commitment. But it's like those people that are like, this is draw a line in the sand, it's done, decision made. Those are the ones that I think are more likely to see success.
Yeah, the power of words is absolutely amazing. Present words and saying that you can, I am doing it is very important.
I I think it's probably a great place to wrap this up because I agree so much. Is like the ultimate change is the change. I believe the ultimate like behavior change is the identity change. Like once someone says, really feels like I was saying, not I'm trying to be healthy. It's like, I'm a healthy person, or I am. That's one of the benefits of, and I'm getting long winded, but one of the benefits of saying like identifying with the diet. There's a lot of downsides to identifying with the diet, but one of the benefits of saying like I am a carnivore or something, it's at least like it helps you stay on the path because you identify as
Yeah,
XYZ. So that's
correct.
the one. There's pros and cons to that, but that's one of the pros I think is from a mindset perspective.
Absolutely. And I think the more that we talk about the mindset along with the practical elements of how to stay lean, like using the carnivore diet, I think that's going to help a lot of people.
I 100% agree. And to wrap this up, I know in Meat Health Academy, which I made a couple of years ago, anyone that enrolled, I didn't even talk about it before they enrolled, but I said there's the entire module, 10, 12 chapters on it's just the mindset before we even get into the academy. Because I felt like if I left that out, then it's like you kind of leaving that. I felt like it just doing like a disservice. And I know you talk a lot about mindset. So I know people can find you on your great YouTube channel, 5 Minute Body, your 5 Minute Body on Instagram and other socials. Where else can people find you? I know you do monthly carnivore challenges.
I do, and you're a guest next week, Kevin.
I'm excited to talk.
Yeah.
So
So
where else
I
can people
do
find you?
So I do monthly challenges, and really it's about getting, carnivore MDs on and really talking about the carnivore diet and the science behind it, but I'm also doing the 60-day fat loss challenge. That's going to start in the new year. So it's really coupling the science and the experts along with people to actually follow a dedicated program similar to what you teach, Kevin, so that they can get the results based on their specific individual needs. So they can find me on the monthly challenge. They can find me on my website. Everything is 5 Minute Body. So very simple.
And we'll link it all below. So Rina, thank you for being here, having the snack with us. I look forward to talking to you soon. And yeah, we'll link everything below. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right. That was great. Thank you so much again for the time and getting up
Oh,
early
I
and
love it.
so
That's
I
awesome.
will try and make sure we get this out before the new year because we kind of have a
Okay,
backlog of episodes, but I'm like, well,
I'm
this
sure.
this we should get out before the new year.
Awesome. Well, I'll see you next week. So it's going to be your time Sunday. I forgot your time though.
Yeah,
Is it
I'm
2
sure I
p.m.?
have it in the calendar. I can
Yeah.
just pull it
Okay,
up right
cool.
now.
I'm so excited. Everyone is going to love you, Kevin.
I am very excited, and you do such a great job. I will say on everything, but like your social media presence, your everything from like the design and the graphics and the edits. I'm like, you are just a professional.
Oh, I get help from my partner. He's an entrepreneur. So he tries to, it's all about branding. So he says that you love brands, Rena. So when you walk into a brand, what do you feel and see? You see color schemes, you see a feel, and it's consistent so that you want that memory of where you're going to. Consistency, like Macca's is basically the genius of all that. Coca-Cola, the colors. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to create.
You do an excellent job, and it's funny because my girlfriend is also a she's for the St. Louis Blues hockey team. She's in charge of branding for the hockey team. So yes, I get lots of branding. We talk about branding all the time. I just want to make sure I have this in my calendar. Where I'm not seeing it right now.
So it's next Sunday. It's hang on. What's the day? Is it Saturday? Yeah, I think it's your time, Saturday 2 p.m. Is that correct? The 5th of November.
I'm glad we're reviewing this because my calendar is what dictates my life, and
Oh, okay.
as long as something's on the calendar, I won't miss it. But if it's not there, I'm like, well, it's at risk of being missed.
Okay, hang on. Let me just
because I'm
double
not
check. So it's going to be.
if it's the 5th, I mean it works. I don't have it in my calendar, but it will definitely work.
Let me just double check that date one sec, because I'm looking at because I have it at 6 a.m. my time, because I know that you don't work much on Saturdays.
I try and keep the girlfriend
I know.
semi-happy.
Just one sec. What is it? So it's gonna be so if it's my Sunday, it's going to be Saturday the 5th of November at 2 p.m. your time.
That totally works. I do not have it in my calendar.
Do you want me to email you the link?
If you don't mind emailing me the link, so I just make sure I don't miss it.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, 2 p.m. So I'll send you the date and the time, and I will tell you again prior to the meeting. But I think the two topics that my group would love is body recomp. So exactly the similar thing that we spoke about today. Also, of course, oral health and the carnivore diet.
Sounds great. Would love to chat about it.
Snack time's over. Did you enjoy the snack? If so, drop me a comment. Let me know if we should dive deeper and do a full meal on this topic. Also, P.S. If you liked the snacks, you're going to love our bites. A daily email bite, a golden nugget, better than a pasture-raised egg yolk. All right, maybe not that good, but it is a daily bite to optimize your health and nutrition with the meat-based diet. Access right now is totally free. Link below. See you in the bites.